The Henkel, overlord of everything.
Supreme Master of the Universe. No, please don't say that.
Hey everyone, it's Emily from ChildCareCRM. I am joined with Lisa Henkel, our Director of Customer Success. And today we are going to walk you through one of the brand new features in your system, two-way communication. So we're going to walk you through how to set it up, how to utilize it, and how to decide if it's the right fit for your organization. So Lisa's going to show us how in the system you will turn two-way communication on, walk us through utilizing it in your organization. We'll give you some tips, best practices, and then we will circle back to some questions that have come in from our users in the past couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
All right, Lisa, let's do it. So if I want to turn on two-way communication for my organization, how do I start?
The very first thing is to make sure that you are prepared.
Okay, what does prepared look like?
Prepared looks like, so you would want to make sure that you understand what the feature does.
Okay.
You'd want to make sure that you have collateral that matches the feature within your program, within your system, and then you would want to send in a request to support at ChildCareCRM.
Okay.
Once you've sent in that request to enable the feature, we will turn it on for you. We do take a look at your system when you request to turn on to make sure that you really are prepared.
There will be a test, is what she's saying.
There is. We don't want you to be in a situation where you've turned on this feature and you realize it doesn't work. It's very easy to turn on. It is not very easy to unwind and turn off.
I would imagine with something like two-way communication, you can't just throw your cell phone away. You have to understand where all of the messages are going, and so I would understand that once you turn that thing on, you really want to be prepared for the day that you should ever need to turn it off, right?
Absolutely.
So this is kind of a turn it on and keep it on kind of situation.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Right.
We call this the all-in feature.
The all-in. So on my checklist of preparedness, when you say collateral, what should I have ready in my system?
So a couple of things. It is two-way communication. So one of the main things is, do people know that they can reply to you? So when you send an email, it's pretty obvious that you can reply to an email. But right now, most of the text messages have that little caveat at the end that says, do not reply. So
True.
That's a main thing that we would want to fix. We would want to make sure that our outbound messages of text and email really match the message that we're trying to send. So we would want to update all of our templates that exist in the system to make sure that it's very clear that they can be replied to now.
And I would also imagine, in your base version of ChildCareCRM, you have 3 text message templates. You have the signature template, which you can add anything in there. You've got the cannot contact before a tour and the cannot contact after a tour. So I would imagine in part of this preparation with your team, you'll want to go into those templates and make sure that you've built out some quick replies or some almost like your email templates where you've got promotional materials or anything you'd want a parent to interact with. So that is what exists now, is your basic and you're unable to contact before and after a tour. But I would think when you sit down and think about this feature, you'll want to put in some quick responses and other tools that your team can use up at the corporate level or location based if it's for that specific location.
Yeah, this two-way communication really gives you some ability that you didn't have before to use text in a new way.
Yeah.
So you would need some new templates that encourage people to engage with you in that way that they didn't before.
Agreed. And I've had some people ask, how do I know that it's okay to text these parents? I always think one of the best templates to add in there in the very beginning is an opt-in, because they can opt out. If they don't want to receive your text messages, they can say no to that, you'll get it, and then you can go in their file and just click do not text, which is really helpful. So if you have any concerns about whether these parents are going to want to interact with text messaging, I would put an opt-in template at the very beginning and then build it into your business rules kind of thing. So, cool?
Yeah, let's do a demo
All right,
real quick.
let's show them how to turn it on. So first I'm going to email support@childcarecrm.com and say we are ready. I'm going to pass the test, the Lisa Henkel test that says I've got everything ready to go in my database, and then what?
And then the way that you'll know that you have been activated is there's a new tab that will be apparent on your home screen here.
Oh, I see it, communications.
That's the tab that lets you know that you are receiving inbound email or text.
Okay, got it.
And I have an example in here.
Well, that makes sense, because I've seen with the new update, I don't have it enabled in my database, and my tabs looked a little shorter, so it's obviously because they've made room for us to turn on the communications tab.
Correct.
That makes sense. All right, so when I enable that, I will have a communications tab. And does this work kind of like our tasks, where if I sit at the very top of my organization, I can toggle between all communications or my communications kind of thing?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's the same sort of method there. So you have my communications or all communications.
Okay.
And you can see how many are available. So right now in mine, I have received in the last 7 days, and the same is with your tasks. You can decide what time period filter you'd like to use. So I'm using the last 7 days here, but you can see that I actually had one this morning where I sent one out, and I have received back a reply from Bill for the Northwoods location. But I can also look, if I wanted to look at all of the communication and see who's in here.
So I can see things that are to and from other team members of mine as long as I have access to those.
Correct, because here I am. This was to me this morning, which is why when I go to my tasks, I have just the one. But when I go to all of that communication, I can see that Brandon and Kevin also received inbound emails.
Okay.
And then by clicking on it, we get to the actual email.
Gotcha. So I also see something in here that seems new to me called manage attachments. What can I do with attachments now? Gotcha. Okay, so now if there's an attachment built into the email, you can view them and download them to your computer just like you could, or you can save them to the Documents tab in the lead screen.
Correct.
Awesome.
So let me just show you that again in case. That's a feature that has been there for a little bit, but not a lot of people are very familiar with that particular Documents tab.
Yeah, and I think they want to be familiar with it. I think it's never had, it's always been a very manual process, right? You upload a document, what do I use this for? But I think adding the ability to download directly from an email really gives you some flexibility in sending your registration documents out or your summer camp waivers or anything, and then just downloading it right to that.
Yeah, so if you're
file.
sending an attachment packet that's your registration material and the parent is sending that back to you through an email, you can now just save it directly. You don't have to save to your computer and then find it and upload it. It's all in one step now.
I love it. That makes that tab way more useful, I think. Very good.
Now the other thing, that same communication, we can see here that we had an outbound, it was opened, and then we had an inbound that was received.
Very good. Okay, so I know that's been a big question too. Yes. My statuses with my emails, I'm not going to lose those. I can still see the opens, clicks, delivers, all of that. It's just not in the parentheses next to my templates. It's there in the status column.
Correct. And a lot of questions too have come around, why did we need this communications tab? This is the answer right here, because now we have the ability to see what type of communication it was, inbound or outbound.
I see. So it was always in your activities because you only ever had outbound communication.
Correct.
But now that you're going to be
it's still there. It's still in your activity. Mm-hmm.
But now that you have ideally you're going to have communication coming in and out rapidly. You're going to need a place to just filter communication on that lead.
Correct.
I understand.
As usual, we can sort that just by inbound or outbound.
I'm liking this, Lisa Henkel. So in our communications tab on the home screen, we saw the inbound and outbound email. I assume it works identically for a cell phone, a text message.
Yes.
Okay. So I also think one of the things to be prepared that we often miss, some of our older databases or clients who've been with us a long time, is in your pick list, there's a way to make the default phone type as cell phone. And I have encouraged you guys for years to just do that. I guarantee you 99% of your parents are giving you a cell phone number, and if they aren't, it's no harm, no foul. You will send a text message out, you'll get a message back from our system saying it was failed, and then you'll know to kind of follow up later and get a mobile device. But then, don't forget, you are not able to send a text message in the two-way communication feature or in general if you haven't listed that cell phone type or as that type as cell or mobile. So you'll want to put that in your preparedness checklist. Make sure that you go into those pick lists and you change that default to cell.
And the easy way you can tell whether or not you can send a text is if you have the icon.
Right.
If the icon is missing, it's not a cell phone.
Agreed. Will you show them in Edit Lead where you can kind of unsubscribe somebody from cell phone or calling or whatever?
Right here.
See that do not text? So this one, you might have overlooked it. It's always, always, always been there. But I think when you build that opt-in in, you're going to be more familiar with it. So when they unsubscribe to an email, you'll click do not email, or the system will click it for you. When they opt out, you'll want to come in here and check do not text, so that you'll now, if you do that, you'll see a little red circle with an X saying stop it. You can't text them, and the system won't send them a text via business rules, mass communications, or drip campaigns, or any of that. So we'll know not to text them.
And again, you can see the icon has disappeared when I say do not text, so it lets me know that I don't have the ability to do that.
All right. So two-way communications in other parts of the system. We looked at the home screen. We looked at the manage lead screen. I think you can also interact in your group communications. Is that true? You can view the replies on a mass email?
Yes.
Okay. So let's take a look at that. So now when you're sending, if you go to group communication history, this is another tab that you might not have used very often. It's going to become way more handy with two-way communication turned on in your system. But now when you click into a mass distribution, whether it was text or email, up at the very top you have the option to view replies within there. So if you'll click one of those, up in your top toggle it says view leads and then view replies, and here you can manage, oh, no one's responded to this, but in here you'd be able to manage, if you sent a big email promo out and people started replying and you don't want to click manually through their lead files, you can just manage all of the replies in here, even if it was email or text message.
Especially this time of year, you're going to, when you send out a large group email, you're going to get replies back of people, I'm on vacation, I'm out of the office.
Oh, the out of office replies.
Yeah, you can take a look at all of those replies in one place really quickly.
Got it. All right. Anything else in kind of demonstrating this we need to look at, or do you want to jump into some FAQs?
I think people have some questions. Let's talk about the questions.
Do you have questions? There could be no questions about this humongous monster of a feature. All right, so Lisa, it's been on for a little bit. You've had a couple of customers. Are they using it? Have they deployed it? Are they playing with it? What are they doing?
Right now with two-way, we wanted to make sure that this, again, it's very hard to unwind. It's very hard to move back. So we do not have anybody yet that's actually using the two-way.
Okay.
We have a lot of people who are being very, very intent on what their collateral looks like and being really, really prepared and being aware.
Okay.
I think the big thing is the preparation and the awareness.
Yeah.
So to be prepared, I would advise everybody to go and take a look at our quick start guides.
Yes, so we have built out a new landing page for you, childcarecrm.com/latest-release, and we will update this. This is not specifically for this release. Every time we do a new release, guys, you're probably used to seeing a pop-up in your system that says read these release notes, but you've got things to do. So you exit out of it and you go about your business, and then you don't know where to find it again. Well, we've kind of created a home for you now. So I would bookmark this page for you, and anytime we do a new release, you'll see the latest release features, any videos, any training we've done. Currently, you have user guides or quick start guides on all of the big 3 that we just released. So if we go into the two-way text and email, what you'll find is kind of an explanation of why you would want to turn two-way text and email on if it's a good fit for you. A nice tutorial there about how to use it, and when we finish this video will also be available there. But we've also done kind of quick start guides, so you can print them out if you want, step-by-step screenshots, and then if you scroll down the page, you'll find more in-depth release notes and details and documentation as we go on. So this is a really good place to start. Once you have, this is part of the Lisa Henkel customer success test. You will ask what the third sentence on step 2 said, so take it out. No, but she's absolutely right. You want to make sure that you are prepared when you're implementing any of these features, especially this one. So make sure that you have looked it over, you think it's a good fit for your team and your end users. So those of you who are making this decision, you might not actually be the people interacting with this two-way communication. So I think another part of the preparedness plan is, do you have a plan in place to train your team and to hold them accountable to how to use it, right?
Yeah.
Because, we are going to support them as much as we can, but especially those of you that have multi-sites, we need to make sure that we're following your brand standards and we don't give them access to something they can't have access to. And so you'll want to make sure that you have a point person in place to train your team on how to utilize two-way communication and how to track it, report on it, what you're going to need out of it. And I think this quick start guide is a good kind of starting point.
Yeah, so we have kind of 3 steps for preparation. Read the quick start guides, update your templates, and then the third thing is work out what your internal processes are. How are you going to really focus on that email that's coming in, and how are you going to receive it, which kind of brings us back to the awareness piece. This is phase 1. This is our first release of two-way, and I think it's really important to understand that this two-way communication is fully and wholly within CRM.
That I think that what she's saying there is your two-way inbound communication. We want to make this very clear. You are no longer going to see it in your Outlook, in your Gmail, on your phone. It's not going to arrive in the places that you're used to. So your team really needs to be prepared to, like we say, get in the morning, say good morning to your staff, turn on your management system, pull up CRM, and you need to keep it on if you're going to have this two-way communication piece. And like Lisa said, this is our first iteration of it. As you know, you've been in our system for a while. We continue to improve things.
Yeah.
But for now, you want to make sure that you are not sending a parent an email out of CRM and expecting to manage that in your Outlook. It
Right,
won't
or
be
even
there.
get a notification that you have an email.
Right.
The only place you're going to see that is right here on this communications screen that says there's one email message waiting or one communication piece waiting.
Right.
You're not going to have any other type of notification for that, which is really something you need to work out in your internal processes.
I 100% agree. So that's a big sticking point. I will tell you one of the features that we won't see as we kind of demo this, but if you are in My Communications or All Communications and you see a message, you want to respond to it, you will be alerted if another team member has replied to it or if the parent has given you a response to a newer message.
Right, it'll say similar to what like an Outlook does.
Right.
There's more recent communication around this.
Do you want to
particular
view
message.
it? And then the other thing I want to point out on this home screen is the clear button. When you click that, I know it can look like a delete. You are not deleting it. You're just dismissing it, almost like an alert from that
Right.
home screen. So it will be bolded if you have not read it. That doesn't mean no one on the team has read it. It means you have not read it. And there will be the dismiss where you can dismiss it from this page, but you are definitely not deleting it. It will still live in that leads file.
It's a way to manage this process for yourself so you know which emails you've already reviewed and which ones are
Right.
still pending to be reviewed.
All right. Okay, so what else has come in on our questions?
All right, so the first question was, what happened to my system? Was there an update? I have this communication button now. What's going on?
I love you guys so much. Being from the industry, Lisa and I can appreciate. You send an email, you send a text message, you post a poster, you put it in your newsletter, you plaster it on Facebook, and the parent still says,
Shows up
"Is it
when you're
picture
closed."
day? How would I know it's picture day?" Or I didn't know it was splash day. So listen, it goes beyond our industry. So yes, there was an update. Let me kind of clue you into how we communicate the updates to you. So the little blue chat box in the bottom of your screen, that's a system communication piece for us. I will send you emails through it. I will send you chats through it. We will oftentimes post it on our social media or our blogs. There is now an ability to opt in on the actual website. So when you go to ChildCareCRM.com, it'll say allow notifications. You'll start getting push notifications from us. I do get the question sometimes that certain people in the organization did not receive the email. What's important to know is that person has to have a user account in your childcare CRM system. They don't ever have to have used it, but they do have to have an account in there. So if you have, an assistant regional VP of operations who never uses CRM but wants to know about it, they'll need a childcare CRM account, or you'll need to loop us in that we have to include them in further communication. So that's how we announced it. But yes, there was a change. It happened on June 27th. It was a very long day for us. So
Here's your
two-way
little communication button.
There's
here.
your communication button. So along with two-way communications, we released drip campaigns. We released, oh look, see?
There's
That's
a
me
message
telling
from
you they're going
Emily.
live. So see, we do tell you. You have to check it. Or dismiss it, and I'll send them by email too. But so we did drip campaigns, two-way communication, enrollment teams, which all have their own live YouTube feeds coming as well. But there were some other modifications in the system, and you can find those by reading your release notes, which you can find on that latest release page, which go in depth about the other changes that you saw, because there were some structural changes within the lead file, especially for that new communications tab and the way that you manage your activities. So you do want to check those out. Was there any other major?
The biggest thing was how that lead screen looks.
Okay.
So we needed to make some physical adjustments to that screen in order to accommodate some new features
Yeah.
and some enhancements that are coming even in the future.
Right.
So there was some changes. We tried to be very communicative with that by putting a message on that said, this page looks different.
Right.
So if you do see something pop up, don't just ignore it. Take a look at it, because sometimes it is communicating
Right.
some information to you.
Always. All right, so what other questions do we have? So yes, something happened to your system.
Yes.
It was surprise.
So the other one that we're getting over the last couple of days is that I know there was a big launch. Something big happened.
Yay, you saw.
And it was supposed to be two-way communication, but it doesn't look like it's working in my system.
Sure.
And that's a pretty simple one. You have to request for it to be
Yes.
turned
So
on.
again, if you have passed the preparedness checklist and you are ready, you need to send an email to support@childcarecrm.com. So Lisa, tell them what sending that email does. Even if they send an email for something outside of this, I think it's a valuable lesson here.
Of the support?
Yeah. If you email support, what can I expect from that?
So we have a couple ways that you can reach us. You can ask questions. So there's three main things here. The first one is to create or view a ticket. So if you've already submitted a support ticket, you can view that ticket and see where it stands. You can also create new tickets. Tickets are things usually that you think are maybe a little bit more in depth.
Right. Right.
that you're not urgent to receive a response to, that you're not sitting in front of your computer and need something to happen right at this moment. Also, sometimes when you are in the chat, which we'll talk about next, if we think that it's a bigger problem or a bigger issue, we might convert it into a ticket to let you know that that's going to take some development time
Gotcha.
for resolution.
Okay.
The other thing is the chat button. And here you can see I can start a chat here, and I would be chatting with Emily if I write a reply. The other thing that I can do, I can go to help and start a chat, or I can just click on this button here and start a new chat, which is not coming up for me. There we go.
I love
So
this
I
piece
can
of it. So when
do
you
a new
start you can do a
conversation.
new conversation, you see who's online. The other thing I really like about Intercom that you don't know as a user is that we can see where you're at in the system. So oftentimes I'll see chats come in that, you're asking about the wait list report, but you're in the marketing tab. So it's very helpful for us to know, oh, no big deal, Lisa. You want to hop over one tab and let me help you navigate to where to get it. We can send you screenshots, we can send you articles, videos, and then above that in the new chat, you also have the things that are highlighted this month or this week that we think it's important that you check out as well. So I really like this feature a lot.
We are making every possible stride to answer you as quickly as possible, because we know that your time is limited when you're in the office and you have a specific question that you want to know what's happening.
Right.
So we really want to get those
I say,
replies to you.
if you have a question and you have some time or you're going to walk out and go to lunch, put a ticket in. If you message us in the chat, don't pop out to lunch, because we're going to look around like, where did she go? She asked us a question, she's not answering us back. So if you you have some time to go back and forth, I think the chat is the way to go.
So we've given ourselves a 4-hour limit.
Okay.
So if after 4 hours you haven't responded to us, here we go. Amber's saying hello to us right now. So if we do a response and we haven't heard back in a 4-hour time period, we'll close out that chat. You can always reopen it.
Got
You
it.
saw how easy it was to go back to the same chat. But if it's been longer than 4 hours, we usually figure something came up. There was some sort of classroom emergency.
Macaroni
or,
and cheese crisis of 2018.
Or a ratio needed to be covered.
A ratio, that doesn't happen.
Who knows?
We're always
But 4 hours is usually our limit there. But then the next thing that you can do too, and I think this is really helpful, and not everybody might be aware of this, but we've created an area where you can submit an idea. And this is really, really useful for us. This is the feedback. And this is where
Whom is allowed to use that?
anybody.
Okay.
Anybody who uses the system, if you are a user, you can submit an idea.
I love it. And what I like about that also is when you do submit an idea, you see other similar ideas. The system picks up on things that it thinks you're talking about and says, hey, someone else just like you had an idea like this. You want to check it out and upvote it and kind of move it up our back priorities and things like that. So I love this, and I'm insanely jealous I didn't have it when I was a director.
This is new, so do take a look at it. But I think the big point is what you just mentioned is the voting.
Yeah.
So when others submit an idea, all of the users are out there submitting ideas. You can look at something and say, wow, that is a great idea. I really love that.
I had never thought of
Give
that.
it the thumbs up. The more votes that it gets, the higher it will become on our development priority, so that we really get the things that you're asking for into the system.
I love that, because for years people have asked us, we only ever had tickets for a long time. So
Yeah.
you were one of them, I was one of them. Hey, I put
Yeah.
a ticket in.
What's happening?
Where is it? So now with this idea base, you've got the ability to see, kind of like you do with your parents on the wait list. Where am I on the wait list? How far back am I? Is this a popular idea that everybody had? I really love this. Please use it. We want to know, this is your system. This is not our system.
Right.
So we need it to be useful and helpful to you. So please put your ideas in there. So speaking of ideas, the one thing I did see come through is I don't like the communications tab. I don't like my lead screen. Can I go back to my old view?
That is a big question.
I've seen it, so I just want to ask. Can I just have, version 1.6, please?
Not at this time.
Not at this time. Got it. Okay, so kind of like, Facebook and Amazon and Yelp when they update. If you
Yeah.
want to use Facebook and Amazon and Yelp, you got to keep it that way. So what I have is what I get. It's staying this way. But I think, you made a good point that I hadn't even thought of. In order to accommodate some of these really cool features, there's where else would you put them if you don't
Right.
create a communications tab, if you don't make space on that lead screen? What do we do? So I had not thought of that, and I think that's a very good point. In order to accommodate some of these great ideas that you guys have had over the years, you have to make space for it.
Yeah, I
So-
think that's a great point too, is that we think two-way communication is a great idea, but that idea didn't come from us.
Right.
That idea came from users. They wanted to be able to send and receive replies within the system. So sometimes we do have to make those kinds of changes. But I think that question, we've definitely received the question. It's the same thing, not just about can I go back to my old system, but what if I want to try out two-way communication and then I don't like it? What then?
Yeah, so like we have said, this is an all-in kind of feature. So if you want to roll two-way communication out in your organization and you've thought through the preparedness, you are aware, you know what you want to do, I still highly encourage you reach out to our support team, and I think we can work with you to kind of set up a test environment or a sandbox environment.
Yes.
I want you to run a couple of emails through, see a couple of responses, have some of your key players who will be using this on a day-to-day basis. Will they log in? Will they keep that sandbox up? Will they manage the communication? Why don't you check out, as leaders in your organization, what your response time looks like when you move to this two-way communication? Because that's what I would be fearful of, is let me turn this on, and is the response to my parents going to be as quick as we're used to? So I would say turn the sandbox on, reach out to us, and we'll help you do that, and kind of just make sure that your team is prepared to keep the level of excellence that you have in your organization already when you turn a feature like this on.
We have a test lab that's running.
Okay.
We have several users who are doing just that. And you already know how simple it is to add a user. That's all we have to do to get you into that test environment.
Okay. So we can do that by emailing support.
Yep.
I really do think you should do that. And then what do you think is a good time frame to do that in? If I'm in your test lab, do I need a week? I guess it depends on what the size of your organization, but
Right, and it depends on how you want to use this. Do you want to use this at a center level? Are you thinking that you might have all of the emails come to one person and have one person constantly responsible for replying to that email? How you're operating within your own processes and procedures, that's what you really need to be intentional about.
I think that brings us to the question I've also seen come in for you guys a lot. I keep seeing our customers ask Lisa and the rest of her team, is this a good fit for my organization? Hey, Lisa, is this right for me?
Right.
And the answer to that is, we don't
Maybe.
know.
Maybe.
We want it to be right for you, and we will help you be successful in any way we can. But you are the only one who can decide if this feature is a good fit for your organization and if it will be in the long term. So we were going to give you best practices and how to use it. We'll run you through a couple of scenarios, but the only one who can make the final decision on if it's a good fit for you is you and your team and the people who will be using it. So I would say have a heart-to-heart with your team. So the other questions that we've got, we answered, is there a way to see if the family has opened the emails or if they bounced? That is going to be in the communications tab. You're used to seeing it in parentheses. You will still get the alert if it's a bounce or a fail on your home screen if you have that alert preference turned on.
Well, you still see in the activities. You can still see the status. And then in the communications, you can see if it was received, opened, failed, delivered.
Got it. In that activities tab, the other new toggle that I think people are wanting to understand more is that include type. What does that mean for us?
So you could do activities that are activities that you initiated, like a phone call. You could include just text messaging. You could include just emails. Or you could include text and email.
I got it.
This is now the default. When you go to this activities screen, text and email is included.
Along with all the other
Along
human
with all of
interactions.
Yes.
Okay. All right. What other questions have we gotten coming in?
How will I know if it's working? How will I know if it's been turned on?
How will I know anything?
This is a pretty easy one, though.
Yes.
The way you know that it's been turned on and it's working is you have the tab.
Okay.
If it's not turned on for your system, the tab is not.
You won't see the tab.
Yep.
All right. So when I request it, I'm going to send a ticket into support. We're going to go through the checklist. We're going to play in the lab environment. And then I can turn it on after whatever set time I've decided.
Yes.
But I cannot turn it off at the drop of a hat. That's what we
Correct.
need to understand. Okay.
Yeah. So I think a good point of the turning off is you can turn it off, but if you already are mid-process with communicating and engaging with a family, it doesn't turn off for them. It turns off for your system, but you'll still need to monitor whether that individual family is mid-reply.
I understand. Okay, so yeah, this is an all-in kind of situation.
It is.
And I think that brings us to this time of the year. This is a very cool feature. Is this the time of year that you want to roll something like this out with all of your back to school emails going out, all of your registrations? Again, that's something that you guys will need to decide. If you are confident and you got it, you think you can rock it, go for it. If you're a larger organization, you have more people to train on this, I think maybe late fall would be a good time to do it. But again, that's something that you guys need to think through and make sure that works in your timeline and your processes. So what else? We answered the opening. Where do I find pending outbound emails now, and how do I cancel them if I need to? Oh, right. So emails that are part of my business rules or my automation, how do I see them and how do I cancel them or edit them or any of that stuff that I'm used to doing?
So this is, there was a little change from the original release, but you will find your pending emails and text on your main lead page, your manage lead screen. Pending emails and texts, and it will be the same as it was before.
Okay.
There'll be a little red, the cancel icon will be here if you want to cancel that. If you want to edit it, you just click on it and edit as you did previously.
So it's back on the manage lead home screen view. Okay, because you're right. There was a release where it was living in communications, and we just moved it back so that you guys could manage it a little easier.
Yes.
All right, what else, Lisa? Do we have anything else to say about two-way communication?
Those are the big questions.
Those are the big questions. This video is live. It will stay here for replay. Throw any questions you've got in the Q&A. We will monitor it throughout the day or as this video kind of lives on. But again, Lisa told you how to reach them. Always, you can submit a ticket. You can chat with them, ask them any questions you have about this feature. Stay tuned in just a little bit. Well, 1 o'clock?
You made a really interesting point there about submitting a ticket. You don't have to go through the help screen, submit a ticket. You can also submit a ticket just by emailing us at support@ChildCareCRM.
Right.
That generates a ticket.
So support@ChildCareCRM will generate a ticket for you. So if you're just in Outlook, you're not here, you can send that in and you'll get a ticket automatically created for you. So we are back on at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. I've been flubbing the times all day. So 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we are going over enrollment team functionality. So if you're interested in enrollment teams, stay tuned at 1 o'clock. If you can't make it, check back. The replay will be there anytime. It was awesome talking to you guys. Oh, wait.
Tomorrow.
And we have another one tomorrow on drip campaigns, which is my favorite of the new features because I like emails. So tomorrow will be live at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time again. And again, if you can't catch it live, tune in anytime. It'll be there on the replay. Subscribing to the YouTube channel will give you the alerts anytime we're about to go live, or if we've even scheduled something in the future. If I schedule it 30 days from now, you'll get a notice from the channel if you're subscribed. So that's something big you'll want to do. Subscribe to YouTube and you can watch it live, replay, on demand. We'll also post these videos on that latest release page. So if you want to go back to the latest release tab so we can get that URL down, it is childcarecrm.com/latest-release, and then you can find everything you need to find. Opt into the notifications there.
You can also find it under product latest release.
Look at that shortcut. Awesome. As Lisa and I said, we are doing everything we can to keep you guys in the loop, to give you your system in the way that you want it and communicate with you the way that you see it. So at any point in time, if you feel like there's a better way to get this information in your hands or the hands of your users, do let us know. Don't keep it a secret, okay? But until next time, we'll sign off. Let us know if you have any questions. We'll see you guys later. Bye.